Hello again. We are halfway through the book by Amy Morin, 13 Things Mentally Strong Couples Don't Do. We are on number 7. Number 7 is mentally strong couples, or I might say resilient couples who have a strong foundation, don't communicate with disrespect. Disrespect really undermines the relationship. Let's first of all define what disrespectful communication entails. Here are some examples. Raising your voice. As much as that's culturally different, some cultures are more comfortable with loud raised voices or expressions of anger. You need to be respectful to what your partner finds appropriate. A disrespectful tone or saying mean things. Name calling is of course disrespectful. Or disparaging remarks, sharing embarrassing things about your partner that they've asked you not to share, frequent sarcasm or eye-rolling. It could be interpreted as disrespectful if you're on your phone while your partner is talking to you. Not consulting your partner on major decisions you're making. Interrupting can be disrespectful, but I also have to say that interrupting can also be helpful if it's done in a respectful way. If I have a partner who's talking at me and I can tell my partner is losing me, then it is actually very beneficial to politely interrupt and check if you are getting what they're saying. Summarize what they're saying and just make sure that you actually understand. It also helps your partner not to have to repeat themselves over and over again because they're getting that you heard them and that you understand. Lying is disrespectful, giving your partner the silent treatment, and making insensitive jokes. And again, not you decide what's insensitive, but your partner does. Why do we treat those people close to us with such disrespect sometimes? Well, the people closest to us, our loved ones, our family, friends, they often mirror back to us what we judge in ourselves or have disowned for ourselves. They mirror what is called our shadows, and that judgment of course shows in our communication. It can come out in a tone or in a choice of words. Sometimes we're simply too comfortable with the other person and we're taking for granted that they won't leave us, so we're not trying as hard as with a stranger. Some disrespectful behavior is due to the other person not feeling heard. Voiced, for example, when the other person raises their voice or interrupts. In those cases, you can improve the communication by becoming a better listener. By that, I don't mean just shut up and be quiet. I'm talking about reflective listening, where you summarize a little bit what you've heard the other person saying and you check with them whether you got it right. That gives them an opportunity to explain when you've made an assumption, but it also makes the other person feel really heard and understood. Because so often we make assumptions and actually don't quite understand our partner. One reason for disrespect could be that your emotional pain is spilling over into the present day and into your relationship with your partner, because our partners become the surrogates for our early attachment figures. They might remind us of our mother, of our father, our early caretakers, and we actually relive conflicts we had with them, with our partner. A more respectful way of communicating is using the feedback wheel, and you will find a couple of videos on my YouTube channel that shows you examples of how to use the 4 steps of the feedback wheel. So let's say you're communicating not with as much respect as you would like. Well, you have the power to change this right now. If your disrespect is due to anger, what you can do is you can learn to recognize when your anger is rising and take a timeout before you explode. Become an observer of your body and of your mind to notice what's happening with anger. If you're an observer of your body, you might notice that your face is getting hot or your heart is beating faster. If you're an observer of your mind, you become aware of those thoughts that you're having that make you angry. Because not the other person is making us angry. Remember the little video on not using your emotions as a weapon. Nobody makes us feel a certain way. But our thoughts, the meaning we give something, creates an emotion for us. Have patience with yourself. If you want to be more respectful, that is a habit change. And like any habit change, it will take some time. Whenever you catch yourself being disrespectful, stop, acknowledge it, apologize, and then reframe. You could, for example, say, "Oh, I'm sorry, that really came out disrespectful. Let me start over, let me say it again." And for yourself, start looking for patterns. What do situations in which you become disrespectful have in common? Are you feeling hurt in those moments? Or stressed? Or is it certain subjects that cause you to be disrespectful? If your partner is the one communicating with disrespect, point it out gently, then identify the situation and have a conversation about it. Be curious, be open why this is happening. You need to bring your willingness to listen to this conversation. Let's use the 4 steps of the feedback wheel. That is not in Amy Morin's book. It is based on Terry Real's relational therapy. Step number 1, you are just simply stating neutrally what you've observed. You could say something like, "I've noticed that you're often on your phone when I'm talking to you." Step number 2, "I know you're probably still listening, but the story I tell myself is that I'm a bother and that you're not interested in what I'm saying. And when I tell myself that, that makes me feel that you don't care about my feelings." And then, last but not least, step number 4, make a request. You could say, "Would you be willing to put your phone away when I have something to say that's important to me?" You can also, of course, point out the behavior in real time. As you're talking, your partner is picking up their phone and you have the impression they're not fully listening. Again, gently point it out and ask them if they would be willing to put their phone down. It is very common that couples have a different perspective on who is disrespectful. Sometimes I've had couple in my coaching sessions where they think the other one is disrespectful and they don't notice at all that they're just as disrespectful, perhaps in a different way. It is quite common that you might feel your tone or the volume of your voice is normal, but your partner might feel that it is condescending, patronizing, or confrontational. So respect your partner's feelings. It's very tempting to make excuses, but take them seriously in what they're feeling, because you also want to be taken seriously. Like all this, you do not have to agree with your partner. What you have to do is respect their feelings and their requests. Then you can make a plan together for change. When both people are communicating with disrespect, we often have an impasse. It's this attitude, if you don't show me respect, I won't show you respect either. And of course, then that couple is stuck. Your behavior has nothing to do with what your partner does. Choose to be respectful no matter what they are doing. Communicating with more respect makes you much stronger as a couple because resentment decreases. So does contempt, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that Gottman mentions. Contempt is linked to our physical health and well-being because we store all our emotions in our body and it literally makes us tensed or ill to hold such emotions. While resentment goes down, empathy, compassion, and kindness increase. You can be assertive without being disrespectful, so it is also very empowering. Here are some common traps that Amy Morin mentions. One is being passive-aggressive. So when you find yourself being passive-aggressive, pause and then ask yourself, what am I feeling and what do I need to communicate to my partner? Then speak up and ask for your wants and needs. Another trap she talks about is electronic communication. For some couples, communicating in writing is really good because they have more time to respond and make sure they phrase well what they're saying. Other couples, it has the opposite effect. So if you find that you and your partner tend to misinterpret the tone or misunderstand each other, for example, when you're texting, limit that way of communication for yourselves. As always, at the end of each video, conversation starters for you and your partner to talk about respect. You could give each other examples of times when either you or your partner communicated respectfully, even though they were emotional. Or you could ask your partner about a time when they were impressed about your ability as a couple to communicate well, even though it was a difficult subject. Over what helps both of you to stay respectful and how you can support each other in continuing to communicate with respect. That's it for today from me, from the Dominican Republic at the moment, and the next video is already being planned out in my head. We will be discussing how not to blame each other for your problems. Until then, bye-bye. If you like this video, remember to give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you will be notified when the next video comes up.